Hey guys, in this video series, you are going to learn how to create this ugly looking static blogging site using JAMstack. Now, before you even quit this video, let me explain why this website is ugly. The goal of this video series is to teach you how you can develop a static website using JAMstack, not how to create a beautiful looking responsive website. Now, just because this website is not that good looking, that doesn't mean that you are not going to learn anything from this video series. You are going to learn about Nextjs, dynamic routing, static site generation, API routes, MongoDB, and so on. I'm super excited for this video, guys. I know you guys are also excited for this video series, so like the video and subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any of this cool stuff. By the way, if you want to have inspiration, this is the Cules coding website. You can go to culescoding.space. This is also a static website using JAMstack. It is also good looking and responsive and little bit complex than the project that I'm about to create in this video series. But the principles are the same. You can check this website's source code. It is completely open source. I will put the GitHub link on the description. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, before I start the coding, let me give you a demo of this application. Now, first of all, there is an app bar, and all of this text that you are seeing is a link which will take you to a specific page without even refreshing. If I click one of these, it will take me to that specific blog page. And as you can see, it was extremely fast without even refreshing, because it is a static page, and also it is using dynamic routing, and I will explain them as we will move forward. If I scroll down a bit, you can see that there is an indicator that is showing me how much time it will take to read the blog, the creation date. You can also see that how many times the blog has been viewed. It is a real-time view counter. I will show you how you can develop something like this. If I scroll down, you can see we have used iframes, code blocks with syntax highlighting, images, and all of the contents that you are seeing is written in Markdown. And if you don't know what Markdown is, I will explain it in a minute. So another feature that this project has is searching. If I click on search, you can search for any kind of blog from the website. For example, if I search for ESLint, it will show me all the blogs that the titles are matched with the search term that I gave. If I click on it, it will take me to that blog page. And all of this happening without even a page refresh, like a single page application or a mobile application. By the way, if you are interested how to set up ESLint prettier with React, I have created a video about it on my channel. I will put the link on the description. ESLint and Prettier is a great handy tool for JavaScript development, okay? Don't miss that out. Let me go over a few concepts so that you understand it much better, okay? You might have noticed that I have mentioned JAMstack many times, but what is JAMstack? This JAM stands for JavaScript API and Markdown. But what is JavaScript? I want you to give a definition of JavaScript in the comment section. Let's see who can give a better definition. Second thing, API. An API is a communication system. For example, to client to server or server to server. It is used for mainly fetching or updating any kind of data. Next, we have Markdown. Markdown is a markup language. If you have seen any kind of GitHub project, you will find some kind of description of that project on the homepage. Those content are written in Markdown, and if you don't know how to write them, they are extremely easy. It will take about 5 to 10 minutes to learn them. There are tons of videos available on YouTube. So what is mainly JAMstack? What is the goal of it? The basic idea here is to not implementing your own server. You let other services to handle that for you. Instead, you can use any kind of serverless services. If you want to learn more about JAMstack, you can watch her or his video. They both did extremely well explaining JAMstack. I will put this link on the description. Okay, so let's move forward. What is a static site? Like I've told you, that this website is a static site. But what is a static site? A static website uses server-side rendering to serve pre-built HTML, CSS, and JavaScript files to a web browser, in contrast to traditional dynamic sites that work by rendering the web page at the time of the request. Now, it might not make sense to you. If you don't know what server-side rendering or client-side rendering, I have a video about them on my channel. Please check that out. It will make more sense to understand what is a static site. So first of all, what happens in a server-side rendering application? The browser, or I can say the client, sends a request to the server. Then the server fetches any kind of data that is needed for the web page. Then it takes the data and insert them into the HTML file. Then the server sends that HTML file to the client. And as you can see that there is a lot of work. So instead fetching the data and insert them at the request time, in a static site, all of this works, this data fetching and populating data happens at the build time. So what happens is at the build time, the builder will fetch any kind of data that is needed for the web page. Then it fetches the data and take the data and generate some HTML pages based on the need and populate those HTML files with the fetched data. So instead of fetching data every time for a request, now server will send the pre-built HTML page which are populated with the fetched data, and that's why static sites are so fast than a dynamic site, because you have skipped a lot of work at the request time. The server only need to do is take the HTML page and send it to client. So this is what a static site is, or a static page, and that's why they are so fast. Okay, and all the pages that you are seeing are static pages and they are pre-built, and that's why they are so fast. Okay, so what technologies we are going to use? We are going to use React, especially Nextjs, for our static site generation. We are going to use Material UI, which is a React UI framework. The styles, the cards that you're seeing is styled by Material UI. Now you don't have to use Material UI. If you want to follow along, you can use that. Next, we are going to use Markdown to generate content. We are also going to use MongoDB as our database. We will store our content and metadata in our database. Now you don't have to do that. You don't need to store everything at your database. But if you want to create a real-time view counter like this, then you have to use a database for that. If you don't want to use MongoDB, you can use any kind of database like Firebase, any kind of SQL database, and so on. We are also going to use SWR, which stands for stale while revalidate, to build the real-time view counter. Okay, so you need to know about something before you move on with this project. You need to have basic JavaScript ideas. If you only know HTML and CSS, that's not going to work. It will be better if you know ES6 features like arrow functions, destructuring, and so on. We are also going to use React as our front-end framework, and Nextjs, which is also a React framework, which will be used for our static site generation. And again, Markdown, it will take about 5 or 10 minutes. Just go and watch any Markdown tutorial and you will be good to go. Alright, these things are optional. If you don't want to use them, that's completely fine. But if you want to learn about Material UI, I have a video series on my channel. You can check that out to learn about them. I will put the link on the description. And also, it will be better if you know MongoDB, if you want to use MongoDB like me, okay? So these are the optional thing. And finally, let me give you an overview how all of this thing will work. First of all, we are going to create content in our Markdown files. We will have some metadata, which are called gray matter, and you are going to learn about them. Then we parse those Markdown files. We take those parsed data and upload them to our database. Then we are going to download any kind of data that is needed for a specific page from the database. And we will take this data and render it to the web page. For example, if you go to any specific blog page, we are going to download only the specific blog data. The title of this blog is What is CSS in JS? It will only download the data about this blog. If I go to the home page, it will download all the data, actually all the metadata of all blogs. It might seem complicated to you, but As we will move forward, you will know how simple this workflow is. Alright, enough talking, let's start the coding. First of all, we need to create a Nextjs application. To do that, just type yarn create next-app. If you're using npm, then npx create next app. Then give your project a name. I'm going to call it Cules-blog. You can choose whatever you want. Now hit enter. It will create a Nextjs application for us. Alright, our Nextjs application has been created. So let's cd into the folder. cd Cules-blog. And now we need to install some packages for our application. I'm just going to paste the installation command. This will install all of the packages that are going to need for the project. By the way, all of the commands that I'm going to use in this video or all over the series will be on the GitHub repository. You just have to go to the specific lesson branch. So you can just copy the command and paste it on your terminal. Okay, so let's install them. I will explain them in a minute. Now, while they are installing, allow me to give you a promotion for one of my projects. We all face imposter syndrome at any stage of our life, and modern social media is increasing the problem. We share our success stories, but other people think that those who are successful is lucky and skilled, and they are good enough to become successful, and that makes the imposter syndrome. But that is not the reality. Success comes after failures. So if we share our failures, then others won't gonna think that they are not good enough. They will accept that failure is the reality. You have to fail before you succeed. This will solve the imposter syndrome problem. And that's why I have developed a social media application. I have named it Confession. It is fully open source. You can create an account, you can post here, you can upload picture, you can like, comment. It has almost every feature that a modern social media has. So please check out the application. I will put the link on the description. Please share this application among your friends and family so that no one will ever give up their dreams because of imposter syndrome. Thank you for watching this. Let's get back to the original video. Alright, all of the packages are installed. Let's explore the package.json. I'm going to open that file on my text editor. So these are the packages we have installed. Now first of all, this is Material UI Core, the core package for Material UI. This is Axios for API request, .env for environment variable, gray matter which will be used to parse our markdown metadata. Mongoose is an ORM for MongoDB. Simply, it is just an abstraction over vanilla MongoDB SDK. And SDK is software development kit. And we have NanoID for generate IDs. Then we have Next. We have Next MDX remote for converting our markdown data to an HTML string. We have Prism React renderer for rendering code blocks with syntax highlighting. And we have reading time for generate how much time it will take to read a blog. And we have SWR, which will be used for real-time data fetching. And that's all we have. Let's clean up our Nextjs project. But before that, I want to move this pages directory to a new directory, which will be called source, actually src. So let's create that, mkdir src. So now we have src folder. What I like to do is put all of my source files inside the source folder. So I will move the pages directory inside the src folder. And also this is a GitHub repository. That's why I need to type git, then mv for move, then pages, and my destination, which is source. Alright, the file has been moved. So let's clean the Nextjs application. src, pages, index.js. I don't need this stuff. I'm gonna delete it. I'm just going to put an h1. hello world and save the file. And also I need to go to app.js. I don't need the CSS. And that's it. That's the cleanup that I wanted to do. Alright, then let's run the server. Just type yarn dev. It will start the development server. I will click this link to open up a browser tab on my browser. Alright, this is our hello world text. Our server is running successfully. Let's try material UI components if it works or not. I am going to import typography component from material UI core / typography. And I will replace this h1 with typography. I'm going to also give the variant of h1. Okay, so let's save the file. And as you can see that our hello world text style has been changed. Okay, so our material UI styles are applied. That means it is working. Enough of this cleanup. And now I want to set up material UI for server-side rendering. But before I even do that, let me explain the pages directory in Nextjs in case if you don't know. Nextjs uses file system routing. We have a pages directory. Inside the pages directory, we put our JavaScript files or even TypeScript files. The files that you are going to put inside the pages directory will be treated as a page of the application. For example, we have an index.js file, and this file represents the home page of the application, or you can say the root route. If I create another file in the pages directory, blog.js or JSX or TS or TSX, doesn't really matter. If I create one, now this blog.js file will be treated as /blog route. And each of these files, you have to export a default component. For example, in our index.js file, we have exported the home component, which will be exported by default. Just for demonstration, inside the blog.js file, I'm going to export a component by default. So RAFCE, and it will give me a boilerplate component. By the way, I was using a snippet extension. I actually don't remember its name, but I will put the link on the description. It is available for both NeoVim and VS Code, but I don't know about the others. So let's just add some text here. This is a blog page. Now if I save the file and go to /blog route, so /blog. Alright, if I zoom it for you, this is a blog page. Okay, and I'm also gonna cover dynamic routing, API routes in future. So hit the subscribe button to stay updated. Okay, now that you have understand what file system routing is, I will just delete the blog.js file. I don't really need it. Okay, so let's set up material UI for server-side rendering. I need to create a special file like this _app.js. So let's create that _document.js. So let's open that up. I will paste some code here. Now you don't need to understand all of this code because I don't even really understand them. I just copy paste them from the material UI Nextjs repository. I'll put the link on the description, and I just customized the code a bit. You can just copy paste from my repository if you want. And in the app.js file, I also need to customize a bit. I need to import useEffectHook from React. So import from React, and I need to import useEffect, and I will paste a little bit of code. Okay, That's all I need to do here. And if I save the file, our app should work fine. Alright, our app is working fine. If I refresh, it is still good, okay? And that's all you need to do for setup Material UI for server-side rendering. And this step was totally optional. If you are not using Material UI, then you don't have to do these steps, okay? And that's it for today. In the next video, we are going to build the whole front end of the application, the cards, app bar, everything. Also, you are going to learn dynamic routing in the next video. If you have any question, please comment down below. If this video has been helpful for you, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. It really motivates me to create more content just like this. If you want to see more content, you can follow me on any social media like LinkedIn, Instagram as That Anjan. I post content daily there. And finally, don't forget to try out Confession, and I will see you next time.